Yoda is one of the most recognizable figures in Star Wars. His wisdom, his mastery of the Force, and his role as a guide to others make him a figure of legend. But beyond all his achievements, one question remains intriguing. Who was Yoda's master? While we know much about his later years as a Jedi, particularly his time on Dagobah and his guidance of Luke Skywalker, the mystery of his early training still persists. Who guided him when he was just a youngling? Who taught the Jedi who would become the Grandmaster of the Jedi Order? In this video, we'll explore the deep mystery of Yoda's origins and uncover the possibilities of who might have been the Jedi who first trained the legendary Yoda. Yoda's origins are shrouded in secrecy. His species is one of the most enigmatic in Star Wars lore, with no known name or home planet. His connection to the Force, however, was undeniable from the moment he was discovered. Born on an unknown planet, Yoda's species has been portrayed as highly Force-sensitive, which might explain how he was able to develop such an incredible understanding of the Force from a young age. Discovered early in life, he was brought to the Jedi Temple on Coruscant to begin his training. Like many Jedi younglings, Yoda displayed a deep connection to the Force, but his innate abilities likely set him apart. Unlike most, he may have received more focused guidance from the Jedi Masters, recognizing his unique potential. The earliest records of Yoda's life before joining the Jedi Temple are non-existent, which leaves us wondering just how his early training began. His arrival at the temple may have been a turning point, but we don't know who took on the monumental task of mentoring this young, gifted, Force-sensitive being. To understand who could have trained Yoda, we must first examine the training system of the Jedi Order. The Jedi Temple on Coruscant was where younglings were taken to hone their connection to the Force. They were guided by Jedi Masters who helped them develop their abilities, both physically and spiritually. Training in the Jedi Order was not one-size-fits-all. While many younglings received training from a variety of different masters, some of them would go on to have more focused mentorship under one particular Jedi Master, who would help guide them through their formative years. Given Yoda's extraordinary potential, he was likely placed under the care of one or more of the most prominent Jedi Masters of the time. But the question remains, who exactly played that pivotal role in his life? What Jedi took on the monumental responsibility of shaping the future Grand Master of the Jedi Order? In Season 5 of The Clone Wars, Forge Master Huyang, voiced by David Tennant, a droid who guides younglings in building their lightsabers, recounts the day when Yoda obtained his very first Kyber crystal. Although the films don't always highlight it, the Jedi Order had a rich history, long before Yoda rose to the rank of Master. In The Empire Strikes Back, Yoda states he trained Jedi for 800 years. Given that he's around 900 years old during that time, it implies he began mentoring others at about 100 years old, a relatively young age considering Grogu is still in early childhood at 50. Yoda's reputation as a wise and immensely powerful Jedi eventually earned him a seat on the High Council and the distinguished title of Grand Master. He held this role at the dawn of the High Republic era, which is set roughly 200 years before the events of the Star Wars prequel trilogy. Though the canon doesn't provide any direct answers, we can explore several potential figures who might have shaped Yoda during his early years. Let's take a look at some of the most likely candidates who could have been Yoda's first mentor. Master Vandar Tokar. One of the earliest and most popular fan theories suggests that Master Vandar Tokar could have been Yoda's teacher. Vandar Tokar is a Jedi Master who appeared in Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, a Star Wars video game set thousands of years before the events of the Phantom Menace. Vandar, a wise and elderly Jedi Master, was known for his calm demeanor and deep connection to the Force, making him a plausible candidate to have trained Yoda during his early years. Although Vandar lived much earlier than Yoda, during the Knights of the Old Republic era, there is no rule in the Star Wars universe that says Yoda couldn't have crossed paths with someone like him during his youth. Vandar's understanding of the Force, his compassionate nature, and his close ties to the Jedi Council make him an appealing figure as a potential mentor for the future Grand Master of the Jedi Order. However, given that this is purely based on fan theory, and there is no canon evidence linking Vandar to Yoda's training, it remains a speculative connection at best. Nakata del Gormo. Long shrouded in myth, the legend of Nakata del Gormo offers a rare and tantalizing glimpse into the mysterious origins of Jedi Master Yoda. As the story goes, Del Gormo was a Hysalrian Jedi Master who had chosen to live in isolation on a remote swamp planet, far from the core of galactic civilization. It was there that a young, Force-sensitive Yoda crash-landed during a space journey gone awry. Del Gormo sensed the Force strongly in the small green stranger and took him under his wing. But this was no temple training, no polished halls, or structured curricula. Del Gormo's methods were shaped by the wild environment itself. Training took place in the dense swamps, where the Force flowed freely through every root, every creature, and every breath of misty air. Lessons likely combined instinctual control, sensory awareness, and the balance between survival and serenity. Through meditation under tangled canopies and practical exercises in both physical agility and mental stillness, Yoda would have been introduced to the deeper rhythms of the Force, not just as a tool, but as a living current that bound all things. Gormo, with his serpentine physiology and ancient wisdom, may have emphasized harmony with nature over rigid combat techniques, instilling in Yoda the value of patience, humility, and listening to the will of the Force. This kind of training, raw and elemental, may explain why Yoda would later choose the swampy world of Dagobah in his final years, a place where the Force flowed as freely as it did in his youth, offering him solitude, reflection, and an ongoing connection to the natural rhythms he had once learned to master. The Jedi Masters of the High Republic. Another interesting possibility lies with the Jedi Masters from the High Republic era. This period, which was thousands of years before Yoda's time, was characterized by a flourishing Jedi Order. Jedi during this time were deeply committed to peace and balance, and many were revered for their wisdom and their connection to the Force. Although we have no definitive proof that Yoda was trained by a Jedi from the High Republic era, it is possible that some of the teachings from that period could have influenced Yoda's own path. Figures like Avar Kriss, who was a Jedi Master during the High Republic period, were known for their remarkable understanding of the Force and their commitment to justice and peace. If Yoda was exposed to some of their teachings, it's possible that he could have developed his own interpretation of the Force, which would come to define his later years as a Jedi Master. The High Republic era represents a time of great knowledge and wisdom in the Jedi Order, and it's certainly plausible that elements of this period had an impact on Yoda's own development. The secretive Jedi Masters of Yoda's era. Given that Yoda's own species and early life remain largely a mystery, it's also possible that his early training was guided by lesser-known, perhaps secretive Jedi Masters. These Jedi were often hidden away in secluded areas of the galaxy and focused on teaching a select few individuals. They were known for their deep connection to the mystical and spiritual aspects of the Force, much like the Jedi Masters who would later go into exile. Yoda himself became a highly secretive figure in his later years, especially during his time in exile on Dagobah, so it's possible that his training as a youngling involved interactions with Jedi Masters who preferred to remain in the background of the Order. These Masters would have been focused on developing his innate Force abilities, teaching him to understand the deeper meanings of the Force, and guiding him in ways that would prepare him for his eventual leadership role. This connection to the secretive nature of the Jedi could explain why so much of Yoda's early life remains unknown to us. In the end, the identity of Yoda's master may never be revealed. The mystery surrounding his early training only adds to the mystique of Yoda himself. Despite his legendary status, we are left with more questions than answers about his origins. This lack of definitive information allows Yoda to remain an even more captivating figure in Star Wars lore. The Jedi Grandmaster who became a symbol of wisdom and balance may have had a teacher, whose identity remains elusive, but that only adds to the depth and complexity of Yoda's character. While we may never know for sure who trained Yoda, we can appreciate that his journey to becoming the revered Jedi Master was shaped by countless influences. Yoda's teachings have inspired generations, and his legacy endures long after his death. His story reminds us that the most important part of a master's teachings is not their name, but the wisdom they impart. So what do you think? Do you have your own theories about Yoda's master? Who do you believe could have trained this legendary Jedi? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all things Star Wars, and may the Force be with you.